I think we are live now. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining today. I'm here with Joe Rollinson from Best Worlds and Jake Doro from Great Lakes Skippers. We're here to talk about how we set sail with search and how we were able to achieve 16.8% increase in revenue and the journey that we took to get there. So I'm going to share my screen real quick and pull up my presentation. So just to start off with some introduction, so my name is Lauren Jones. I'm a Channelship Partnership Manager at Klevu. And those of you who are not familiar with Klevu, we are an AI-driven product discovery tool backed by natural language processing. And we have a focus on on-site search, category merchandising, and product recommendations. Jake, I'll let you go ahead and introduce yourself as well.
Yeah, so Jake Doro, I'm a development manager here at Great Lakes Skipper. Been with the company for over 10 years. Little background in sales, marketing, development, purchasing, and customer service. So kind of touched it all over here.
Awesome. Joe?
Yeah, I'm Joe Rollinson. I'm the CEO of Best Worlds, and we have been playing around with Magento, now Adobe Commerce, since 2009. And one of the things that sets us apart is we love if we get the chance to test things when we're recommending like a service or a tactic to see if it's actually going to make our partners, our clients, money. In 2019, we were awarded with the Adobe Innovations Lab Award for this advanced A/B test extension. And that's what we're going to be, is going to be behind this kind of case study where we were thankfully, both Great Lakes Skipper and Klevu were willing to let us actually test across the entire site, one version running the Klevu optimizations, not just search, but recommendations and category merchandising optimizations. And then the other half of the traffic was what they had previous, the native search from Magento. So we're grateful that we're able to run that test in this case. It's what we love to do. And we're excited to share the results with everybody.
Awesome. Now, Jake, I'll hand it over to you and let you give us an introduction to Great Lakes Skipper and the business and how the relationship with Best Worlds was, how it started and how the pain points that you guys were looking to achieve.
Yeah, so to start, Great Lakes Skipper is basically a family owned and operated marine supplier. We're the largest in the world of OEM replacement parts and components. Basically started as a retail space back in 1969. In 2002, we saw the opportunity of the internet coming about to actually take it online. We have an inventory of about 42,000 different SKUs, with that growing on a daily basis. One of the things we noticed upon kind of actually launching our own platform is it's not so much of creating a website, basic storefront, trying to get customers in the door. It's actually developing and kind of putting together something that's effective, visible to our customers across the globe. Upon kind of doing the development, it's when Best Worlds came into play, actually sitting down, our routine development calls. What can we improve? What are we lacking in? What do we need to improve on? That's where we came across Klevu. Joe recommended. I'll kind of pass it off to Joe to give kind of what he saw as the main keys to why we went with Klevu. But some of the issues that we saw were actually in the marine industry. Trying to find what you need is very complicated. There's 100 different terms for the same component. So being able to search your terms and finding relevant results was the biggest thing that we were lacking. And so I'll pass it off to Joe to kind of go into further detail about that.
Yeah, thanks, Jake. As you mentioned, we have this process we go through with our clients to look for opportunities. We call it the marketing backlog exercise, but we go and we just brainstorm things that we think could improve revenues. We rank those by the ease of implementation and the potential business impact. And this came up kind of definitely like, Jake and Daniel before and the Great Lakes team were, brought up the fact that we're not so sure that we're really capturing some of the more difficult search scenarios. You're looking for some part. I'm a boat owner, and I've been in this situation. You have an older boat. You're looking for a part. Over here, it's got this one part number. Over there, it's got a different part number. And they weren't so sure that search was always capturing all of the different ways that part could be described. So we said, hey, we think Klevu is a great option. And then the question kind of comes up, well, is it going to be worth the investment? And that's when we said, hey, we actually can run an A/B test on this, and then you'll know. And if Klevu is willing, and they were, then we can kind of have it set up to where we will look at the results. And if the results are good, you'll know that you're getting $10, $20, $30 back for every dollar you're spending on them, or you'll know it's not worth it. And fortunately, Klevu was brave enough to say, yeah, let's do it. We're confident in our tool. And we said, all right, we'll use the A/B test to get it going. And so we set forth and launched the test, and the rest is what we'll talk about next.
Awesome. And can you, Joe, give us an introduction to Best Worlds?
Sure. So I mentioned we've been an agency. We're working with Magento since 2009. We've actually been in business since 2005. But one of the ways that we kind of try to differentiate ourselves is our passion for conversion rate optimization. And in general, every commerce agency is trying to grow the revenues of their clients. And we've also operated our own e-commerce brands. So we know that the key to winning is finding the right investments to make that are going to have great ROI. We're like obsessed with ROI. So along our journey, we've found cases where we really weren't sure a service or tactic was going to move the needle. And it's so hard looking back, and you're like Google Analytics or something else to see, well, after implementation, was it better? Well, I can't tell because I had all these promos or seasonality. So the advanced A/B test that we built leverages Magento's ability to split traffic and almost run like two stores simultaneously. And so part of what we've done with our clients over time is to help them to figure out, not just implement, which is our specialty of, okay, let's make sure it works, but let's actually double check that it's making you more money. That's what we've been passionate about for the last 17 years we've been in business.
Awesome. And now, what are the reasons when you're trying to increase these conversions for your clients? Like, what do you look at and technology partners that will be successful for your clients?
Yeah, one of the things, especially with Magento now, Adobe Commerce, is a lot of services give lip service to the idea that they can integrate well. But we know Klevu's been, anyone in the Magento community has been around for any time. Klevu has a deep relationship with Magento at the technology level, at the business level. So they were a natural fit, and they have been successful with other clients. So when this came up, like, are we sure search is doing the best that it can? Naturally, especially when you have a lot of data, right? This is, in the past, we've played with, back when it was Solar and different search backends, and we know how much work it is if you have lots of data to try to get search right. And Klevu, that's what they've been focused on for, a really long time. So yeah, when we thought about a potential search backend partner, Klevu is the natural choice there because of their deep understanding of Magento. And so, and the other thing is that it's not just does the service work well, but will the people stand behind it? And that's why we look to have partnerships with services and organizations like Klevu, because as you'll see in some of the results coming up, that it may not always be perfect from the onset. And the success may be a combination of the tech and the people that need to figure out how to implement that right. And it's a partnership. It's not just the agency or the merchant. The service may sometimes need some configuration level things to get it right. And so I think all the things that we look for in a partner, this is a great case study for, like, we got all those things out of Klevu.
Awesome. And let's kind of talk about the implementation of Klevu. So we talked about how you guys have these periodical check-ins where you guys have the marketing talks and figure out what can we improve in the site, how can we increase those conversions. Can you touch on how the implementation of Klevu went?
Sure. Jake, do you want me to take that?
Yeah, if you want to cover that part of it.
Sure. So, yeah, obviously there's a technology component to getting this implemented, but there was an extra lift involved because we were going to, send half the traffic to a version of the site that had all the Klevu search backend, merchandising recommendations, and smart category optimizations, and then half the traffic that wasn't. So there's also that concern that you, in the process of trying to do this great test, that you want to make sure you're not screwing anything up. So, but we were able to get through that, get the implementation done, and also on this idea that we would be able to share these results if they were good, and that either way we would all know. I believe this is the first time that Klevu actually had an A/B test like this, because it's kind of a hard thing to run. So we were able to get all that stuff squared away, and then boom, launched.
Awesome. And so here we have two different graphs. So what we mentioned earlier, we implemented, and we noticed that there might have been a couple of things in the back end that we needed to tweak. And then you can see down here, when we got it together, we can show the actual improvements on the website. And Joe, I'll let you touch on this a little bit further.
Yeah, so this was really interesting. We had several months where, our advanced A/B test extension throws the data to Google Analytics. And so we have, as you can see here, two variations. There's variables that allow any of the traffic views to be split by, the traffic on website A and B. And for the first few months, when we checked the results, they were absolutely flat. I mean, I'm talking within, 0.1%. I mean, as flat can be. So we were saying to ourselves, no, we've seen really good results with Klevu in the past. I wonder what's going on here. And so we checked, okay, is there something about our implementation? Did we figure everything out? And eventually we were able to determine that there were a few places where data is being stored that, in the way that's the back end was pulling that in for its kind of algorithm to chew through it and to optimize for search results, that we missed, or not missed. It just was, it wasn't. There were some other things we had to get in place on the configuration level. And once we did that, instead of being flat, we saw a dramatic improvement in both average order value and conversion rate that together combined to have a 16% lift in revenue. So what I really love about this is that, it wasn't perfect from the start. That's so often the case with anything that we're doing, especially in the world of Adobe Commerce, where it's very complex, but it's also incredibly powerful. And so, but collectively we said, okay, well, the test doesn't lie. The data is telling us it's flat. What do? We made some tweaks, and then now the numbers really started to show. You can't see it as much here, but it's, the results were great in many thousands of transactions and statistical confidence to say, this is now really working.
Awesome. So after the results came in, we noticed a 16.8% increase in revenue. Some of the stuff that we were able to achieve is helping out with the SKU search. So whenever someone searches for something, and maybe with a lot of boat parts, any type of company that's using a lot of parts, searching by SKU is important. And so if you accidentally mistype a number or misspell a part, Klevu is going to be able to come in and help and make sure that the relevance results are shown with fuzzy matching and our natural language processing. And also being able to help with dynamic filters that are specific to each term, and being able to provide most frequently searched terms. Now, Jake, I know since after the increase in revenue, I kind of wanted to pick your brain on what you've done with the data in the back end of Klevu after you guys have gone live, and now what have you done with that data?
Yeah, so essentially, I mean, with Klevu to start, basically, Klevu not only automatically can pick up on those keywords, you can go on the back end and actually manually kind of pick your own brain and think of those similar words, similar terms. So that's incredibly powerful in itself there. You can kind of jump the gun on actually, picking up on what other people might be searching. But past all the search functions, just the back end of Klevu itself is pretty phenomenal. And the fact that you can go in there, I can see most search city by that week, by that month, by that whatever time period I ask it to. Show most frequently searched items, and kind of from there make actual educated marketing decisions on where are we going to send an email campaign? Are we going to boost a post in Facebook at Miami, Florida, or whatever the case might be? It really gives us the power to basically make effective marketing strategies.
Awesome. And now, through all that work and the whole implementation, would you say that the ROI that Great Lakes Skipper is seeing was worth adding Klevu to the site?
Oh, definitely. I mean, when you're looking at a double-digit ROI, I mean, it speaks for itself. You really can't go wrong. It more than satisfied with what Klevu's been able to do with us.
Awesome. So I think that's it for kind of what we wanted to discuss today. Joe or Jake, did you guys have anything else that you wanted to add?
I did want to add something specific to as a bit of advice if you are a merchant or an agency out there considering implementing Klevu, and that is it may not be obvious that when you start working with Klevu that they don't know the exact search scenarios that are going to be taking place on your website. Of course, they will have had thousands of implementations to go by with experience, but for your success, you need to come ready with the toughest search scenarios that you can dream up, as many of them as you can think of, because that's going to be the key to eventually determining whether the really advanced parts of search are working. If you look at the graphs that we showed, what we love to see is kind of a little bit of that parallel aspect to where the version with the optimization is always outperforming. But one of the things that's I think is kind of a bit remarkable as I look at this lower graph is that this is a per session value daily, but it's on the promotion days where people are on the site maybe a little bit more in discovery mode versus I think a lot of people on Great Lakes Skipper are there to find their particular carburetor for their ski boat 1992. It's hard to find boat part, but when they're there saying, hey, there's a great promotion, let me see if I can find things for my boat or for my engine or for my outboard, then that's when you can see consistently the results were better. So I would just encourage, if there's a merchant or agency out there that's thinking about doing this implementation, start off by getting the longest list you can of really the toughest searches that you can come up with. Then when you implement, make sure that those searches really are doing better than they were before, because there is a chance that there's a few tweaks that need to take place for you to really start getting it right.
Definitely. And definitely in the back end of Klevu too, one of the cool things that you're going to be able to see is maybe we have a missed search term. So if someone is coming onto your site and searching for something that maybe it's a product that you don't actually carry, you can actually go in, take that keyword, key term, and then put it into a synonym. And then you're going to be able to show products that you actually want your customers to see and kind of relay it that way. So very different stuff that we can do with those search terms in the back end of Klevu. And we actually have here, so if you guys are interested in learning more about Best World's advanced A/B test extension, you can go to their website at bestworlds.com and sign up there. And I think and we can do, let me stop sharing my screen real quick. If anyone has any questions and they want to put it into the chat, feel free.
Yeah, and I wanted to say that our advanced A/B test extension we've made it available if you're an agency or if you're a merchant thinking about, you're not sure if a particular service is going to be worth the investment, you wish you could test it. We have been sharing the extension with agency partners or with other merchants under certain conditions. So if you want to reach out to us, we'd love to talk to you. Our main priority is running great tests like this, and sometimes it's not the easiest thing to do. So you need the technology and you need the will. If you have the will, we have the technology. So if you want to find us at bestworlds.com You can also find our LinkedIn group through the domain magecrow.com. I'll put it in the chat here. But I just wanted to say that, yeah, we've been trying to power great tests, and in many cases we can share the extension with your agency or with you to help you run that test. So reach out.
Awesome. Well, thanks, guys. Thanks for joining.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Bye.